Ah, the 1970s, a decade of flared trousers, power cuts, and the majestic inefficiency of the UK Post Office telephone service. For the uninitiated, this was a time when owning a telephone was seen as a bit flashy. Getting a telephone installed was a quest of Arthurian proportions, and using a telephone was a gamble best reserved for emergencies, or when you were feeling especially patient. The post office, you see, didn't just handle letters and parcels. No, in its infinite wisdom, it also ran the nation's telecommunications, which meant that the very same people who could reliably lose your aunt's birthday card somewhere between Dundee and Kirkcaldy were also in charge of wiring the country for sound. It was like putting the Ministry of Silly Walks in charge of civil aviation. Ordering a new telephone line was like applying for a mortgage and a kidney transplant at the same time. First came the forms, then came the waiting. Then came a man in a brown jacket 6 months later to tell you that unfortunately the exchange in Stirling was full, the line didn't reach your house, and someone named Morag in Inverary would need to die or move before you could get connected. Assuming you did get a phone line, you were treated to a selection of handsets in stunning beige or funeral black. Choice was not a word the post office recognised. You got the standard model. Everyone got the standard model. It looked like it had been designed by someone who'd once seen a telephone described to them in a dream. The receiver was hefty enough to double as a blunt instrument. The dial could abrade your fingers if you used it too enthusiastically, and the ringtone was so shrill it could wake the dead, or at least a sleeping budgie. Portability? Don't be daft. The phone was tethered to the wall like a goat to a stake. If you wanted privacy, you had two options: shout from the hallway or drag the cable so far it threatened to bring down a wall. As for making calls, there was a very real chance the line would simply go dead halfway through. If you were lucky, you'd hear the comforting whir of a rotary dial, one digit at a time, while praying you didn't misdial and have to start again. International calls were theoretically possible, but involved more operators than the Highland Games. And let's not forget the charm of shared party lines. Yes, you might be on the phone and suddenly hear old Mrs. McLeod from next door breathing heavily while waiting to make her call to the chemist in Oban. Privacy? Don't be silly. This was a socialist phone system. By the end of the decade, British Telecom would eventually be carved off and modernised. But for many, the post office era remained the golden age of analogue indifference. It was a system where you didn't just make a phone call, you earned it.